Well, greetings. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today. Today, I'm going to be doing a bit of a different one. I had a subscriber ask me my thoughts on Kali, Kalima, the dark goddess. Krehi Kalima, Krehi Kalima. Just a little bit of a mantra. And I thought, why not? Let's do it. So I made a few notes on my phone and I've set some time. So let's get into a bit of a video chat about me describing my connection with Kalima, with Kali, with my thoughts on her, and just having a bit of a chat. I love a good chat. So first of all, I have to say I have to come at this with a lot of respect because I am not Hindu. I don't follow or study or worship this particular goddess, deity, god, representation of the divine. It is from a completely different system to me. So I have to get that out of the way first. First things first. As we know, some systems and some spiritual beliefs, and this is a belief in, this is a spirituality that is more in a religion state. So people that tend to follow the Hindu way, some of them do get offended when Westerners talk about it, but I don't see it in the way. I'm not coming at it in a way where I'm being disrespectful. I'm coming at it in a way where we're talking about it. I'm educated about it, and I want to know what your thoughts are on Kali. I don't claim to be an expert on Kali, but if you've, tell me, I want to know about your relationship with her. Like, what do you guys get out of it? Leave me some messages in the comments. I'd love to know if I've missed anything, or, if there's something you'd like to add that I haven't covered in this recording. So, I'm not from this system. I am very much interested in it though. And, so there are many different versions of, and everyone's interpretation of this being or this goddess is different. So this is just my interpretation. And of course, it's coming from more of a left perspective, which might be interesting for you. As you know, I am more on the left path than I am on the right path. And I've done a video on that, describing my recent conversions. Well, not recent, but, I'm not interested in love and light, and I actually see religion as being in the dark. I see the left side as actually the light, shining a light on the darkness. So it would make perfect sense that that I'd want to talk about Kali, because there's such a misconception about her. And I think people, when they first see visually Kali, when they look at what she looks like, they freak out. A lot of people, you can't deny, this is a very interesting and really mystique. There's a lot of mystique to her, I guess you could say. She can be easily misinterpreted for a demon. But of course, if you know anything about Kali, she is not a demon. She's a demon slayer. And I think that goes hand in hand with something that I've often thought about, where demons are really the demons that we have inside us. They're the things, the darker elements of us that we wrestle with and deal with. So she's not denying that they exist through all this love and light nonsense. What she's doing is going after them and dealing with things head on. And that's why I feel that Kali is so relatable to a lot of people. There is a working element with this goddess that you can approach her and she will come for you. This is in terms of energetic beings, gods, deities, entities, a part of the divine, I would say Kali is accessible. She is more accessible than I would say something like in a religious system would be that would be like an Abrahamic system, which, yeah, like an angel. Like angels are actually really hard to connect to be honest. I'm not going to lie about that, but yeah. Anyway, I feel like I'm kind of already going off on so many tangents. So if you don't know much about Kali, you can definitely look her up. There is a TV series called American Gods, which I really enjoy. It's a really great show, and it covers a lot of different perspectives on different pantheons, and it was a book series that was written by Neil Gaiman, incredible writer, who also did Coraline. He's done a lot of different works, Sandman series, which I think they're going to make into a movie series. So yeah, Kali is featured in season 2 of American Gods. So if you're into this type of thing, I would highly recommend to give that a go. I think it's on Amazon Prime. And if American Gods isn't really for you, then that's okay too. But I will briefly mention that. So yeah. So my visual interpretation of this being is that I get excited when I see images of her. You know, there's a visceral, raw, primal energy here, and I love that because that's how I approach my spirituality. That's how I approach my life, and I've always liked the look of Kali. There's drama there. There's this, like I said, there's mystique, and you know, there's lots of different artworks over the years that have all come out, that have all emerged. Sometimes she's depicted, you know, in different ways, which is totally cool because, you know, I think we all see things differently. Sometimes she's black, sometimes she's blue, sometimes she traditionally has 4 arms, sometimes she has 10 arms, and I don't mind. I actually really recently was shown some images from, I think it's called the Kali Oracle, and it was done by Alana Fairchild, and I was really impressed actually. Just talking about Kali visually in this video is that I saw some of the artworks. Now, I'm not a really big fan of digital artwork. Like, I'm not a big fan of computer generated artwork. I'm like, I'm like old school. I like, you know, pen and paper and paint, and that's kind of how I am. But that's just my preference. But there is one image that was done of Kali, and it was just a really close up of her beautiful blue face. And I just, as soon as I saw that artwork, I was just so impressed and so taken back. So I'm not sure who did it. I know that Alana collaborated with an artist, a male artist that does the artwork for her decks, and I think his name might be Jimmy. I'm not sure, but go check out the Kali Oracle. I'd even actually consider buying it because I'm so impressed with the colors and the concept work. And I think the idea for that deck, just in relation to Kali, was that because she can be so unapproachable and so intense, people kind of run away and they're like, oh no, it's like, oh my God, this is too much. But I think that they softened her down in that deck a lot in their depictions of her in the artwork, and made Kali not only more approachable, but also the artwork was very evocative of the mother archetype, which Kali is also, and really protective, like, you know, that don't fuck with my kid at the same time. Like, you know, there's an energy to Kali when I look at her and I tap into her that is ferocious. You know, I hear the scraping of metal, the scraping of chains, and I hear fire cracking. Like, her element for me would definitely be fire. And I love that because we know fire burns things down. It creates renewal. It creates, you know, it's destruction. It's the element of destruction. It consumes what it touches and then breaks it down alchemically into a different form. And Goddess Kali is the depiction through Shakti and fire, which is rebirth, death, time, and the mother. And so I think that was quite well illustrated in that deck. So go and check out that deck if you haven't already. If you don't know the deck, I'll leave a description or like a link to the deck below, but just go to Alana Fairchild. If you're into the occult and you're into tarot, then you probably already know about that deck. And I think that over the past few years, coming into 2020, we came into 2021, and here we are in 2022. I mean, we've definitely undergone a lot of Kali cycles. A lot of shifts have happened, and we're going through some massive, massive shifts. And I don't say that lightly, because I tend to I tend to stay away from that level of thinking. But no, we definitely are. So if there's ever a deity to work with now, it would be Kali. You know, that's why I'm doing this video. So I hope that this makes sense. So yeah, let's go back to like visually looking at her. Like, I see, like, we always get these piercing eyes. Like when I see her, there's this very intense stare, and her tongue's hanging out, which is very primal, like it's very tribal. And there's this element of don't fuck with me. You know, there's an element to her which is very much like not aggressive, but protective. So working with Kali energy, you feel very protected. You feel that she is protective. And that's that mother archetype there, which is really good. And, you know, it's just such an incredible amount of energy, and this Amazonian type of vibe where she's just like, don't fuck with me, you know, do not come for me, because I'm going to win. Like, there's an element, as I'm tapping in now, I'm just thinking about Kali. You know, we see, well, I mean, first of all, she wears the heads of her enemies. Which, speaking in terms of like, you know, the physicality to her, we also know that the heads actually represent the egos that she severs. So when we tune into Kali energy, we're dealing with breaking down to break through. We're dealing with an energy that is warrior-like, that's on the battlefield, but we're also dealing with breaking down something that is not real. So Kali for me deals with illusions. She deals with something that is not real, can't last. So when I energetically, as I'm just kind of tapping in now, I feel that, you know, she's got these blades, she's got these sickles, she's got a scythe, she's got sometimes a fork, like a Triton type fork. She'll be holding on to the head of her enemy. So it's like she doesn't just conquer her enemy, she wears their body parts, like their arms or their feet, hands are hanging around her body. Like that's like this, like that's intense. Like she doesn't, it's kind of like an example of like, this is what I do to my enemy. You know, I wear you with pride. Like I drink your blood. I will bite your head off. I'll rip your face off. Like that. That's very much what I get in. Like when I'm looking into the depiction of her, I feel that, you know, all these arms and body parts, all as she's wearing them, are all kind of swaying and hanging as she moves with all of these chains. And there's just such a powerful, like Aries vibe to her, like that warrior Mars energy I get. Like obviously her totally is the element of fire. And then I look at her face, and as I'm tuning in, it's like I'm being called to kind of describe her through me. I hope that you're, I hope that you're getting what I'm, like the vibe that I'm putting down, you know, like what I'm feeling here. Now, as I'm tuning in a little bit more with Kali, I feel like this is going to be an in-tuning chat. Actually, she's all about the root chakra. So it's the sacral chakra. And I feel that like her strength for me, as I'm just tapping in a little bit now, is that it's like running down my spinal cord. So I feel this like I automatically, my posture, I'm sitting up straight. Like I'm not slouched. I'm not, crumpled down. I'm standing up straight. I'm standing up proud. Like this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is like the energy that I get there. And Kali is that sacral chakra, so it's the base that everything is like built off, kind of thing, right up to the crown in top of the head. So it's that's what I'm kind of getting there a little bit as well. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, so there's definitely like a masculine vibe to her, which for a lot of men that are fearful of women in power, obviously they wouldn't really like that. And I feel that there's a lot of fear around her, like people would be revered and looking at her in a way that is intimidated. That's something that's why I feel like I want to talk about Kali, because that's just not true. Like, she isn't evil. She is the slayer of evil. She was created to destroy the demon king. And I remember there was a story that I was reading about where she was created to destroy the demon, a demon, like this demon that was destroying everything in sight. And every time they cut that demon, his blood would create more demons. So then they created Kali Ma, was made to destroy him. And what she did was she consumed him and ate him inside of her. So she swallowed him whole in her own being. That way none of his blood could drop out anymore. So she took over him, and then, like, I know this is crazy, but it's like she gestated him. Like, it's like facing your fear, facing your demons, swallowing it whole. And like, yeah, that's insane. Like, I love Hindu stories. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to, there was a movie that came out years ago called, you might know this one. I think it's called The Little Princess, the original. And there's like a beautiful sequence in that film where this little girl who came from India, or a part of India, and she talks about Rama and how she drew a circle with he drew a circle with a stick and told his wife not to leave the circle. And yeah, it was really interesting. But the folklore and the stories and myths and legends in Hinduism, for me, are just so really interesting, and I've always been attracted to that, type of story, type of magic. So the energy around Kali for me is that I see the fertility in terms of like birthing creation. So she'll gestate something inside of her and birth it into the world. So there's got that Scorpio energy there, which is dealing with death, rebirth, cycles and endings, beginnings. When I tap into Kali, it's like she is more concerned with the smashing down of something. She's like more concerned with, she's more interested in the rebuilding of something than she is in something that just needs to be destroyed. So when we come back to that truth thing with ego, if we're operating from a place of ego, we're not really operating from a place that's really considerate of everyone. We're just thinking about ourselves. And when I hear the expression, the death of the ego, that is ridiculous. And Kali reminds us that we can't actually kill the ego because we are the ego. We can't separate ourselves from that of what we are. We can only work to integrate what we are and work through that. So Kali is about realizing that and then taking the action step to do something with that knowledge, to do something with that divine wisdom. So knowing that all are one, and we are separate from each other. Like, obviously I have a separate heart from you, as does she, but we're all collectively a part of something that is totally connected. And that's what she's about. So that's what the head reference is. The heads that she carries are the egos. So not destroying our ego, because our ego is our own sense of self-concept, but to integrate it and understand that darker aspects of ourselves so that we can move through them. And that's the element of what like Krishna, Rama, any of the Hindu gods, what they are is they are representations of a part or an element of the Godhead. So the Godhead would be like divine, the universe. And then it's kind of like she would represent one part, Krishna would represent another part, and Intradreet would recommend, like, they've all got their own little, Hanuman would, like, every single one of the Hindu elements there are all representing of an archetype. And that's what Kali is. She's a representation of a part of the archetype, but there are many others there too. And that's one of the things I was listening to Set Guru, who was talking about Kali, and he was saying that something that was really interesting to me, where he said, that Kali is a representation of an element of the divinity of it. But for a lot of people that are not interested in self-development, they're not interested in the world at large, they don't have to take a part of it. They don't have to take part in healing it or fixing it if they're not aware of it. And that was really interesting, because as I've discovered through my journey through spirituality and through the occult and everything, is that the more that I know, the more that I wish I knew. It's a journey, and it's the complexities to understanding a lot of this stuff is so astronomical. Like, sometimes I get completely overwhelmed. And that's normal, and I want to remind you, if you're out there listening to this video now and hearing me talk, know that this is complicated stuff. Spirituality is very complicated, and there's many different systems at play at one time. Some of them contradict each other. Some of them override each other. That's why it's important to just work with what you feel and work to what you're called to, if that makes sense. So yeah, anyway, I hope you're enjoying this really random chat. I like to drift into different spaces. I move quick in these chats too, I guess. But yeah, I hope that you're following me. So with Kali, she's a working class goddess or a working class deity. So like I said, she is accessible. With the Greek pantheon, there was this element where you had to sacrifice a person or a goat or an animal or some kind of representation of what that god likes. And so if it was Hestia or Aphrodite or Zeus or Ares, or even in the Greek pantheon, but there was always that separation going on where it was like, they'd be like, oh, we're on Mount Olympus. We'll just sit up here and do fuck all, and they'll just pay us homage. Tea. With Kali's not like that at all. She doesn't want sacrifice from you. What she wants for you is to sacrifice the old version of you to improve yourself, to level the fuck up, to man the fuck up and grow the fuck up and get in the game and get activated and take action stages, not just sitting on your ass doing nothing. That's why when I'm doing my art a lot and I'm birthing new ideas into my head and doing them, this is about getting into the phase of movement and doing the work. This sign is about getting that passion. You've got an idea, and the sign of Kali is get moving with that. Get on that battlefield, and you're going to overcome all of these different hurdles and all of these different challenges. And it's through that adversity and fire that you are forged through into this world. And that's what you came here for. And that's why I love Kali so much. There was also a famous story about Kali where a group of bandits, I don't know if like bandits, but I would say a group of really misguided disciples from some other temple decided that they would evoke Kali to get her favor so that she may grant them a wish or give them something, which is so telling when it comes to spirituality. And I see that a lot. A lot of people, like even on the left path, people want to join this path because they just want to use another spiritual system to gain something, to acquire something. But they're not actually coming to the spiritual system because they're in fucking alignment with that god or deity or demon. They just want something. And I've told you before in a few other videos that you can't actually lie. Energy can't lie. Intention can't actually lie. So you could say that you're not doing it when secretly that's exactly what you're doing. And Kali doesn't like lies. She's a truth teller. And so anyway, so this group of bandits, they basically kidnapped a monk that was virtuous and pure, and that purity type of energy. And they decided that they wanted to sacrifice the monk to Kali. Oh, oh yeah, Kali showed up, all right. Oh yeah, Kali showed up, ripped off all of their heads, and then spared the monk, and then granted the monk her blessing and favor. So what this was for me when I read that, it's like Kali isn't interested in your worship to sacrifice something in her honor. What she wants is for you to do the work for yourself. There's no cheat sheet here. And that's like, yes, I love that. And so she's very just. She's very fair. This is not a petty god. This isn't like Hera. This being is truthful. And when I was tapping into that Kali energy there before, I was just getting in my head that Scorpio vibe. I would say Kali for me astrologically would be Scorpio, which is death, cycles, rebirth, which is, time, space, death, because she's a goddess of time as well. So she also, with your relationship with time management, Kali would work with that. How many hours in a day? What's realistic in the day? Also the death cycle, obviously. And the energy of the Aries is like the baby, the child, the warrior coming in like new fresh eyes, seeing the world for the first time kind of thing. But also I think the closest match for me when I think of Kali would be Sagittarius because she's a free spirit. She wants to do her own thing. And I see her hair is wavy and long and wild. Like I love that. By the way, I love it when girls when girls have their hair like that or like braided, like warrior braids. It's fucking hot, but also it's just powerful. And she wants to be free. She's a free agent. She does what she wants to do. She doesn't need a man. She's not married to any other deity or god. She is out there doing her thing, living her life. And that's the vibe that I love, that Kali, like that sticking her tongue out, like fuck you energy. In the astrology, I would say Libra would be the jury that would decipher and weigh up, the pros and cons, the sins, the reward, the punishment, the good, the evil. And it's all relevant, it's all based on the angle of your perception. And then Scorpio would be like, Scorpio is going to decipher the punishment because Scorpio will punish you. But Sagittarius is the executioner. Sagittarius, with their bow and arrow, they perform the execution. And so I see Kali as that. She is the executioner. She's going to show up, deliver the blow, and smash something to bits. And that's what it is. And there's kind of like an exciting energy there where if a wall or a temple, something wasn't built on solid ground to begin with, then at some point it's going to collapse. Kali, like the Tower card, it comes in, smashes it down. It's all completely crumbled. The version of your ego that you thought you were is completely destroyed. And now you have to start again. And now you've got to rebuild. Now you've got to reassess. That is Kali. Yeah, I hope that, if we took anything out of this video, then I would say that would be, and there's also that philosophical side to her. She can be kind of impulsive. And I think as well with Kali is that she'll show up for you, but she's not going to hang around forever, So this isn't like one of those deities where they demand loyalty. You have to show up to them and only worship them. Kali's not like that. You can work, this being doesn't mind you working with other deities because she knows it's all part of the collective. She's got that philosophical, the Sagittarians are like that. Like you don't really get a Sagittarian for life. They come in, they do something, and then they go on to it's like Mary Poppins kind of thing. They go on to the next thing and the next thing. And that's what Kali is like for me. So she won't be staying with you until the end, but she will come in a time of need when she is called, when she is evoked. And be genuine with her. You know, if you're going to work with this deity, then you need to show up. You know, we must work with the gods as the gods work with us. You know, it's a two-way street. But yeah, that's my interpretation with beautiful Kali. And it's something that I've got a lot in common with this energy, because I'm like part Sagittarian myself. And I guess it depends on your point of view. Now, Kali is the mother as well, so she's got that protective energy, like I mentioned. So it's like if someone messed with her child, she would, that tiger energy, that protector energy, she'd rip your face off. This is a type of vibe that would rip out your throat with her teeth and just spit it on the ground. That's the type of energy. But she can also be nurturing. She can be kind. She is about enlightenment. She's that, philosophical side, like, where do you see your life going and what is it that you want to do? And then moving in that direction and taking action, but being in tune with who you are. So she's that embodiment of protectedness. And she doesn't like cowards. She doesn't like someone who's cowardly. So with Kali energy, if you're going to say you're going to do something, damn, do it. She's got no time for someone that doesn't do what they said they were going to do. I hope that makes sense. And I feel that she is listening. Like, this is a vibe of an energy that is listening. Like we know with the deity, they can be at many places at one time. They can manifest in many different ways. There is a lot of Kali work that can be done through the Kundalini and through yoga. And it's all in the hips and in the sacral chakra and in the spine. So I know that you could go and do like a yoga course where you can work with particular Kali poses, which will open up trauma that you may be holding in the body. So I know that is a big part of, Kali is definitely a part of like the yogi way, if that makes sense. There's a really popular book called The Way of the Yogi, and I would recommend it. And it does talk about exactly what I'm talking about right now with holding things in the body and releasing things. And Kali is mentioned quite a bit there too. So what it is really about, Kali for me is about realizing the barriers that are around you, but also being willing to face and conquer your fear on the battlefield of life, getting out there and facing things and breaking down those barriers, but also understanding what's holding you back and understanding that it's you. You are holding yourself back. And when you understand that, when you own that, when you look at that and really get that in your heart, all of these walls can now crumble away. And you can begin to understand who you really are a lot better by working through aspects of Kali. So I hope that's a big part of it as well. So conquering your fears, knowing that you are a creature of desire. So everything we do, like as humans, we do them because we want to. We are directed towards things that we're directed to because I believe desire is where fire and passion comes from. So everything that wills itself into this world had to come from a will of desire. And that's really important. That's really, really interesting that, and she does it with grace. It's the concept of doing it with grace and doing it with a tremendous amount of force. Yeah. So I love that. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've just been ranting on about this goddess, beautiful Kalima, and it's been fun. I kind of tapped in a little bit and I just enjoy talking about her. Like, I think it's just really interesting. And the mother, protector, the demon slayer, the warrior, go research her, look her up, go look at some of these other deities as well. This is one that I'm particularly interested in. And there's so many different interpretations of Kali. So yeah, I will leave it here. I think I've described my thoughts and feelings on this incredible deity. Yeah, if you want to leave me a comment below. I want to know what you think. Did I miss anything? What's your interpretation of Kali? But yeah, I will see you in the next video, and thank you for sticking around and listening to me rabbit on about all this Kali stuff. But yeah, I hope that you've taken some of the passion and excitement, because we need passion. You know, we need fire and passion in our life to make things happen. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it here. Much love and light to you. I will see you in the next video. Shakti Kali Kalima.